Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my sketchbook tour. If you haven't seen the first part, go check out the video linked in my description. It'll bring you right to there. I do recommend you go and watch that video because it does give a little bit of insight on why I'm doing this sketchbook tour and why I broke it up into 3 parts. So without further ado, let's get started. These are some color sketches. So this is the Egyptian plover. You can really barely read what I'm writing here, but it's, you know, white stripe, white throat, gray wings, light purple? I can barely see what I wrote here. White stripe like here, gray legs, dark yellow belly. So I was kind of, you know, basically just roughly filling in where the colors go on this bird here. And then, so this is the Egyptian plover. This is the bird that hangs out on Nile crocodiles to clean their teeth. And then this yellow-billed oxpecker is the bird that cleans out the giraffe teeth sometimes. So I obviously wanted to cross these guys if I'm gonna cross the giraffe and the alligator here, or crocodile. Whatever. I still don't even know. I kind of made like a blend of crocodile alligator for this, but anyway. So yeah, I was kind of taking notes on where the colors go on this guy, and then I started brainstorming on the next page how to mesh these two together. So here is the Egyptian plover yellow-billed oxpecker hybrid. I don't know what to call him. He's just a bird doing his dentist thing. And then here's another drawing that I did. Instead of having this profile that I had on this page, I decided to have him maybe more in your face so you can really see his teeth a little bit better. And then since the article is about, you know, office chit chat, I had him like, oh, here's like those water things in an office, and then they're just kind of like chilling with their coffee and whatever. So that was kind of my little drawing there, and I thought maybe I'd do this in the mouth here, and there's a little bird there, some trees and whatever. Like I said, this is very loosey-goosey sketching. None of this is like refined in any way. So if this looks like garbage, that's what it's supposed to be, just for planning. So, and you know, at first I was like, oh, do I really want to show these? Should I just skip to the Inktober stuff? But then I was like, nah, this is important planning process stuff. So here's some thumbnail preliminary sketches for a memory concept self-portrait that I had to do for my life drawing class during this time as well. So, you know, when I heard memory, I kind of took it a little bit more literally and was like, oh, memory card in your brain. So here's some rough self-portrait, more dynamic, and then a little bit more straight on, a little bit close-ups, just some kind of ideas to try and figure out what I want to do for the final one. Yeah, again, they do kind of look like me, but like there's a lot of things off with these. There's just, again, it's mostly just to figure out, like the hand is huge. Oh jeez, okay. Just trying to figure out the composition and the idea in general so I could show my professor and be like, hey, this is what I want to do, and she'd be like, okay, and then move on. But yeah, so next page. So here's some more rough, very rough scribble sketches here. Coming up with, like, I wanted to do a vertical one. I was like, what if I did a horizontal one? What would that look like? I would have to add something here, maybe some treeage here. And here it was like, I don't know. I kind of like this one. This was like, I came up with a whole bunch of them to kind of get some feedback on what would be the best one to go forward with my peers and my professor at class. This is a note that I took of an artist that my professor recommended to look at color palettes for this drawing. I really like this close-up just because it shows how tiny these birds are. Even though in real life, they would be a little bit bigger, but you know, since these are all made up, I guess that doesn't really apply. But yeah. Ooh, here we go, Inktober, let's do this. So I was very, very proud of myself. I got through the whole Inktober, not missing a day. I did cheat a little bit. I did like the day before, kept ahead of myself in that way, which really helped, but I was still drawing every day, so, you know. And for this Inktober, I didn't want to overwhelm myself with doing stippling and stuff that I would do on a more finalized finish ink illustration, I guess you could say. So I wanted to keep it very simple, and I wanted to continue my hybrids here, and I thought this would be just a fun way to be inspired by some different prompts and come up with a hybrid based on it. So here we go, Inktober 2019. So here's day 1 ring. So I was like, oh, what about a hoop ring with a dog fin? Sliding on through it. Oh my god, there's a pigeon right here. Look. Oh, you can't see him. Oh, look at him. I am a distracting little girl here. Oh, bye. Anyway, back to the, oh my god, there's another one. Oh, wait. Where is he? Oh my god, look at him. Hi, bud. Is there any more? There was another one that came by and I was like, oh, that's it, I guess I'll continue. And then, oh my God, look at him. Hi, buddy. Chilling in the gutter here. Oh, that was a big jump. Okay, you just chill there, man. Ooh, cutie. All right, anyway, I'm moving on. Anyway, after that sidetrack, but yeah, this is the day one that I came up with, my dog fin guy and a hoop ring, you know, being a playful dog fin. Anyway, so here's day two. The prompt was mindless, so obviously I came up with Perry the platypus because they don't do very much, you know? And so I came up with this goofy, you know, platypus. I was like, oh, what other animal is kind of mindless? And earthworms, definitely mindless. Or maybe they're not and we just have no way of knowing, but same with Agent Perry, so there we go. Day three, we've got bait. So obviously I came up with a bunhorse. Because bunnies and horses both like carrots, so I was like, oh, how would you bait a bunhorse? You would give him a giant ass carrot, so there you go. That's day three. This is day four, freeze, and immediately my brain was like, oh, brain freeze. So I came up with a hybrid that's super cold and a hybrid that's super hot, you know, where they live, I guess. They're hybrids, so they don't exist, but, you know, where they would exist. So this is a desert viper and a camel, and he's like, oh my God, I can't handle this. I'm getting ice cubes, or icicles, not ice cubes. Sarah, that is not an ice cube. And he's like, you know, when you get a brain freeze and it's like, can't handle it. So that's kind of like what I was doing there. The line work was kind of shaky because, you know, I made a mistake and then I was like, I'll just make it darker, and then you know, my hand was shaky, so I was like, I'll just make this even thicker to try and smooth that out, and it was like, Caffeine is quite the concept in all of these sketches because, you know, I'm still a student going to school doing these sketches and stuff, so caffeine's a factor. And then this is a polar bear walrus because they both are in cooler climates, and he's like, whoa, what's the big deal? Ice cream, you know? And he's just not having a good time. So they're probably not to scale. I think he would be a lot bigger. Maybe not that much. I don't know. Again, like I said, Inktober for me was just like, I'm just gonna vomit these hybrids and see where it goes with these prompts here. For day five, it was build. I did come up with a children's book idea that I wrote and illustrated about this Bippo, beaver hippo. He was also in my welcome page for this sketchbook, which if you haven't seen, it's either at the beginning of this video or in part one. I'm not sure if I'm gonna split this up yet, but if it's a part one, then I will link that in the description. The children's book that I wrote and illustrated, the main character was a beaver hippo, and in the story, he had to build a dam for himself, but since he's part hippo, he needs these giant logs to build the dam, so it's nice and big and strong. Like I said, the illustrations and the story itself isn't publishable yet, so I'm still working out, you know, refining the illustrations themselves, and hopefully I'll have a nice and more complete book that I could pitch and publish in the future sometime. Alright, so I love the sketchbook too because you can easily just kind of, you know, switch to the next page without, you know, having it lay flat and not having to worry about creases or anything like that. It's easy to work with too, like on your lap especially, because then you don't have to worry about, you know, having this flippy side. You can just turn it all around and it's still sturdy and everything. So that's another reason I prefer spiral bound sketchbooks. But that's just my personal preference. I had to include my dog fin again, and this is actually an animal hybrid that I made up. That's actually a husky and a Pacific white-sided dolphin hybrid that I made an infographic, kind of like a spoof infographic of in the past. And so this was day 6 of Inktober and the prompt was husky. So I thought I'd bring him back for a little bit for this Inktober day. This is my Seal Lion. He's a fun character that I keep drawing. He also appears in my children's book. He's one that's reoccurred in quite a few of my projects. I've done a little animation of him as well. Him doing like a sexy dance because he's very full of himself and has a lot of attitude and sass, so he's been reoccurring in a bunch of my projects in my college career so far. If you're interested in seeing an animation that he was featured in, feel free to go check that out. It's somewhere on my Instagram. It's pretty fun. He does like a body roll. He's very sassy. This one, the day 7 was enchanted was the prompt, so I felt like he feels like he's enchanted, so I had him doing this kind of look at me kind of pose here. So this is day 8 called Frail. Now, I'm trying to remember, I'm pretty sure it's a kangaroo and a goose. Maybe I was inspired because kangaroos, I don't know, the way that they run, maybe? Kind of looks like he has like a hunchback. Maybe that's what my inspiration was. I'm trying to remember, this was like a while ago. Walker here. So yeah, this guy's pretty frail, I guess. He's a kangaroos. So in this sketchbook in particular, I tended to switch back and forth kind of horizontally because the sketchbook's quite tiny, so it was easier for me to do bigger sketches this way as opposed to smaller ones like that. So this is my illustration. This time I was trying to come up with a final characters for a ZBrush project I was working on for my ZBrush class. So I know I wanted to include my electric ferret eel for real guy here, a hedgerfish, a pufferfish hedgehog, and I was thinking about adding my sea goose as well, but I ended up not putting him in there. I just didn't have enough time to create both these characters and add another one for this project. And for those of you that don't know, ZBrush is a 3D modeling sculpting software, which is really cool. I highly recommend it just to even play around with a free version of Sculptress or play around with ZBrush free trial because it is quite expensive. I got the privilege to use it in my university, so that was very nice. And I recommend it for creating characters. You can do 3D designs and you can actually 3D print these models. I do have a 3D model that I printed actually from this character that I created. If you guys are interested in seeing that, I can show you in a future video. But yeah, so this is kind of my brainstorming for what kind of characters I wanted to include in the final illustration for my ZBrush class. So I did end up creating this guy and this guy in ZBrush, 3D modeled him, or them I guess, and I also 3D modeled some seaweed and things to put them in an environment and took basically a screenshot, like a high-res screenshot of it, and messed with it in Photoshop to make it a pretty cool illustration in their own environment. And it was actually a lot of fun, so let me know if you guys want more information on that. Also, that illustration, the 3D printing process for that and everything, that's all on my Instagram, so feel free to go check that out. It's somewhere there. Alright, so this is Inktober day 9, Swing. Most of these I wrote down underneath whatever I drew for Inktober, but this one I was like, I like the composition of this, and I didn't want to add it tiny here or anything. I didn't want to ruin it, I guess, so I put my sloppy handwriting on the next page and kind of went, you know, this is that one. This was Swing. This is my first animal hybrid I've ever created, or at least like consciously tried to create, I guess. It actually all came about when I was trying to come up with a toy design for my first advanced illustration class, because I was sketching an elephant actually, like what if I made a stuffed animal elephant or something, and then I drew his trunk, and I was like, oh, it kind of looks like a tentacle, so then I added more tentacles to him just because, you know, why not? And then I came up with this octophant. So I came up with a toy design thinking that he would be kind of like a bath toy, or like those stretchy, slimy toys that you can stretch and then it goes back into shape or something like that. So I made the packaging for it and everything for that project. So he was my first animal hybrid that I seriously made. And then I ended up making more toy designs based on other hybrids that I made in the next semester to kind of build off of him. And, you know, life of animal hybrid making kind of sparked from that. So I'm doing more regular animals now, but I'll always love making animal hybrids. So he's the start of that. The idea was this is, you know, the mama octophant kind of cradling little baby elephant here in like a Dumbo inspired moment here. I also did a comic added with this guy here. Instead, like the sneeze reveal was, you know, all these tentacles and all the other elephants were like, oh my god. So I did another comic inspired by this Dumbo idea as well, just with an extra few twists. And then this is day 10. Prompt was pattern, and this is a snow leopard vark, or leopard vark, I don't know. I spelled it like leopard with 2 A's, and so since it was pattern, I was thinking about snow leopards, and then I was drawing a snow leopard, and I was like, oh, what if I just extended his nose more? And I was like, oh, it kind of looks like an aardvark. So then I actually looked up what an aardvark head looks like and drew that there. I did start with pencil with all of these, and then went over it with ink. I'm actually pretty happy with him in this one. He's definitely a character, and I think I did a good job on the pattern, even though it took a while to do all those patterns and coloring them all in and stuff. He definitely has that pattern prompt down, I think. These are some general notes from a visiting artist that did a demo, some extra notes, some supplies, nibs and things like that. And then this is a snow leopold, I don't know. But he's the guy I made for day 11, which the prompt was snow, and he's very strange in a kind of lovable way, I think. So I guess I was still in the snow leopard mood, plus, you know, the prompt was snow, so he's kind of cute. I don't know, his little legs, little chunky legs. Alright, so this is the more fleshed out sketch on what I wanted to do for my ZBrush illustrations. So in ZBrush, I actually created these seaweed stalks and this electric Frail here, or Frail, and a hedgerfish. And I thought I was gonna do some coral and stuff, but I decided to just stick with the stalks here. So I actually sculpted all this in ZBrush and then kind of positioned it the way I wanted to, put some lighting on it, and it actually turned out to be a pretty cool illustration. So if you're interested in checking that out, that's on my Instagram, feel free. Now this is Inktober day 12. The prompt was dragon, and I was like, I don't wanna just draw a dragon, that's kind of lame. Plus that's already kind of an animal hybrid, it's kind of like a bat lizard or something. So I want to do something a little bit different, twist it a little bit more, so I decided to draw my sea lion character here, but like full glam, got his drag on here, and I had a lot of fun. I really enjoy looking at all the intricate out there dramatic makeup that's out there, and I really had fun putting him together. The line work is a little I don't know, I kind of like how I ended up keeping just a tiny little bit of highlight here. It's very hard for me to do in ink. I usually end up going in white gel pen and kind of fixing where I go too black like I could have. But I did a nice job, you know, keeping that there. That was, I'm proud of myself for that. Okay, so I remember specifically this day was challenging for me because I was gonna do like a phoenix because the prompt for Inktober on it. Day 13 was ash, so I was like, I could draw like a phoenix or a phoenix hybrid of some kind, which I could have. I was debating on doing that, but wanted to challenge myself a little bit more and come up with something that would be fire breathy. Just something that was like really pissed off. So I don't know why. I thought of a cat that, like, you know, when the cats get scared or frightened or like pissed, they'll like, their hair sticks up and they, you know, put their ears back and they're just very like, ee, you know, like, get out of my face. So I was like, how fitting of having him breathing fire, but then also having him with a gecko. I don't know why I chose a gecko, but I guess lizards are just creepier than cats. So I was like, oh, I'll just make him a gecko too. So it's a get-cat, catco, cat-teco. I don't know. Get-cat I'm going with for this one. So that was my Inktober day 13 for Ash. You don't want to cross her, alright? Oh, here's my Bippo guy again. And the prompt was overgrown. I was like, oh, what if he just has a really bad toothache? And because beavers, you know, if they don't gnaw their teeth down, they just keep growing, and that can cause so many issues. Like it could grow back into it. It's just not a good thing for that beaver. So I decided to give him like a little toothache, and he's like, oh no. This day 15 was legend, and I think the most legendary hybrid is a unicorn because they're narwhal horses. But it's just something that came in my brain, and I was like, it's Inktober, I gotta draw today, so let's just draw a freaking unicorn and show how majestic this legend is. And I think I did that alright. I think he looks very majestic. With the wind flowing. Again, all of my Inktober's are caffeinated and scratchy in some places, but I feel like that's what Inktober's for. It's basically just to get you to draw every single day and make something. I think that's the main point of it, which is why I didn't put so much pressure on every single one of my Inktober drawings, because I feel like I would have just lost steam by, you know, day 3 or something, if that. I think that's very important to remember when you try and do Inktober, is that it's not about making masterpieces every day, it's about getting yourself to create something every single day. I'm pretty happy with this one though. I think I could have gone a little bit lighter here with the line art because it just is very, very like stuck on. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the way that I made him look very majestic. So this drawing is a little bit hard to see. I don't know if you can even see that at all. But this is a bench. When I was brainstorming an illustration of the, I think it was earlier in Inktober, I was inspired by that one to just do an illustration on that with the desert viper and the polar bear walrus, I don't know. I don't remember what I ended up calling him. So they were gonna be chilling here eating ice cream and having that brain freeze moment that I thought about in Inktober. So this was the bench, kind of trying to figure out perspective. It's a little wonky. I think I was using tracing paper over top of it to figure out how the animals would be on it. But yeah, so that was very helpful for that. Lonely bench here. Alright, so this spread in particular is very expressive. This one in particular, because for Inktober, I was trying to do a day before, like do the prompt for the next day that day, so I could post that picture whenever I wanted, because otherwise it would probably end up being a minute before midnight and like be like, okay guys, I made it. This way I could post that whenever I wanted to. It'd still be during the day, I'd still be drawing every day, but I was a little bit more ahead of myself, which was nice. So this day in particular, I was kind of concerned because whether I was working on a project or something, I just didn't have time time to do the drawing for the day after. So I was like on the same day, basically, this day 16, I did this that day, and the prompt was wild. So why not draw a gorillion here, and drinking some beer and having a good, you know, party, I guess. I had a lot of fun designing this, and the piercings, and just very expressive, loosey-goosey, heavily caffeine-induced line work here. I noticed when I was drawing this hand too, after the fact, that you can't hold something, like have your elbow be like here, and then like, or like, wait, like that, and then also, I don't know, it's just the way that it looks is awkward. Like, it looks like it has like a elbow here, but then does this weird like twisted broken-y thing here, which I kind of wish that I put this handle like here. That would make a little bit more sense to me, or that this was wrapped around the handle. That's something I didn't notice until I wanted to include him in an illustration, and I tried to redraw him, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? He's pretty wild, I think. Another thing about this drawing is he inspired me to create my bar drawing with my octafint and a couple other animal hybrids at a bar. He was going to be like the main character, focal point of it, and then he just wasn't working in the environment I created for this illustration, so I decided to lovingly pat him aside. It was very hard to do because I really love him, but it ended up being the best choice for the illustration, and now I'm really happy with it. I'm pretty proud of it, and I think if I would have tried to force him in there, it just wouldn't have worked. So maybe in the future I'll figure out a way, but for now, at least he was the inspiration that pushed me to do that drawing that I'm really proud of now. Thank you guys so much for watching the second part of my sketchbook tour. All the supplies that I use in this part of my sketchbook tour will be linked in the description below, so check that out if you're interested, as well as all of my social media and the links to part 1 and 3 of this sketchbook tour once those are uploaded. Please leave a comment below what you think of the sketches in this part of my sketchbook tour. Which ones were your favorite, which ones were the cringiest, and which ones do you want to see me draw more of? Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.